What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. I am Pushaman, part of Chimera Team Gaming, and we're here with another addition to the Indie Game Spotlight section on the channel. We wanted to have a section where we can showcase some pretty neat games that may go under the radar, and this time we have another good one for you right on time for this Halloween spooky season, and it is FRACTER. FRACTER is an emotive isometric puzzle adventure game from the creators 4L Games and our friends over at Quantum Astrophysicist Guild. And to keep it short and sweet, it's about a young hero trying to find the light at the end of a very dark and emotional tunnel. But before we fully get into it, hit that like button and subscribe for more Indie Game Spotlight reviews. So as I said before, it's about finding the light. You play as an unknown hero, because it never really is stated who you really are, who seems lost and misguided and stumbles upon a little light that looks like it wants to help you find your way out from being trapped. A mirror appears, and as you begin to see your reflection, which could possibly mean you are finding yourself for that brief moment, the mirror shatters as pieces of you, both light and dark, scurry away. This is where the adventure starts, and you take off to gather the light pieces so you can begin to, if you will, piece yourself back together again. It's a pretty dark and deep narrative than what truly appears on the surface level of the game. As you play through the game and enter levels, you are given stanzas or pieces of lines of a poem that adds to the story and aims to give it some type of depth. Although pretty vague because there's really no storytelling here, I think what the narrative that the game is trying to push is really leaving it up to the player on how to interpret the main questions of the game, such as who's the hero, like is that you or is that somebody else? What is the light's purpose? Who is the light? Where the hell are we? Basically, this game just leaves you asking, what the hell? Let's just move on to the gameplay. It is pretty straightforward, and it is an isometric puzzle game that you have to solve the puzzles to be able to complete the level and move on. There's a light source in each area, and you need to use that light to connect to key blocks to unlock the door to progress. As you go through the levels, there'll be new puzzles to solve, and I think the game does a good job at adding new puzzles at a good pace to be able to give players enough time to get acclimated to them before it starts to ramp up the difficulty. Now, don't let the word puzzle scare you off. They're not incredibly difficult, but it's complex just enough to keep you on your toes and leave you scratching your head at times. The puzzles range from connecting light nodes to key blocks that I mentioned earlier, to opening up paths using mirrors, to pushing a large block along to fill in the holes on the stage. It really starts to get a bit more challenging when it adds moving tiles and even the stage itself starts to move. More puzzles come into play as you progress, but these are the core mechanics throughout the game. Also, you remember those shadows or the dark sides of you that escape that I mentioned? Yeah, they're scattered everywhere, and they really add on to the mild horror the game achieves as they slink around in the darkness. They guard paths and areas that stop you from moving on or stop you from going down a path where a light piece of you is hiding. This is the part of the game where you can either choose to fight or flight. You can take down the shadows by using light, or you can just sneak past them. Now, don't think stealth like your Snake from Metal Gear Solid. That's not what this is. Just watch their pathing and go the opposite way of them so they don't see you. I will tell you that the shadows got me a couple times because I was not expecting them to start chasing me like that. They went down on all fours like The Grudge or some shit and started chasing me while hissing. No thanks. No thanks at all. And then what makes it even worse is that the camera zooms in a bit if you're spotted to add on to top of everything. Sometimes I just didn't even see them. So every chance I got, I destroyed every single one of them. I'm not playing any games. Now, to talk about the best part of FRACTER, or you can call it the X-FRACTER. Alright, I'll stop. The visual art style and sounds is what makes this game stand out to me the most and does the puzzle genre justice. Simplistic yet beautifully done, the monochromatic graphics continue to add on to the dark tone of the game. The light is just bright enough to allow you to see a good bit in front of you and around you without getting rid of the ominous dark presence. The game is really just pretty and enjoyable to even look at even with no color. And normally in scary games, sounds and music normally takes a back seat, but not this time around. The overtones in the music, besides just hearing it when the action starts to happen, adds to the creep vibe of the game and adds that, the best way I can put it, a claustrophobic vibe that it gives of feeling trapped in this large realm you're in. So I gave a lot of pros, and you're probably wondering what are the cons to FRACTER. There's two major negatives that really leaves me feeling torn about the game. One I kind of mentioned, and that is the lack of storytelling, and the other major one is the length and replayability value. I do wish with such a deep game like this that there was some type of storytelling going on with it to push that immersion. As I said, the stanzas kind of add more, but not really. As for the length of the game, I was able to complete it within 2 hours. My second run of the game, I completed it in just over an hour. This game is very short and offers very little replayability value. I just can't think of times where you will want to replay the game. Well, I think the only time you want to replay this game is if you need to pass time while you're on the go, because we played this on the Nintendo Switch and this was originally a mobile game, and to be honest, it does feel like one. Or you didn't collect all the missing pieces of you, so you have to replay those stages to find them all. Or you maybe challenged yourself to speedrun the game. It just doesn't have enough there, and I wish it did. All we can hope for is a sequel, which is longer, or DLC to continue this narrative. So to wrap things up, if you've ever played Limbo and Monument Valley, FRACTER to me combines those two games together, and let me tell you, that isn't a bad combination. I would definitely recommend FRACTER for gamers looking for a good puzzle game to pass the time. Its puzzle complexity is in that sweet spot of being hard, but not hard enough to make it feel enjoyable, and it's cleverly put together. It's super simplistic and linear, and the dark, deep vibe the game portrays does it justice to give it a mild horror feel, and just to add a little teaser to it, when you do find all the missing pieces of you, ultimately finding yourself again, it does something pretty freaking neat, which I also enjoyed seeing. And with that, we have come to the end of the review. If you played FRACTER, let me know what are your thoughts and your favorite moments down in the comments below, or you can tell me what you didn't like. And once again, thanks to our friends over at Quantum Astrophysicists Guild for another solid addition to the Indie Game Spotlight section. I am Pushaman, and this is Chimera Team Gaming, where we let our passion for gaming become a three-headed beast. And we'll see you in the next video. Deuces.